I've got my car back, obviously, as you can tell by now. And I just wanted to go over what failed, what went wrong, what broke, how, why, all those things. Pretty much what happened is I was driving. I was out in the back roads, doing some logs, just kind of cruising, enjoying the car, kind of just giving it, I guess, a bit of a beating. That's kind of what the car was built for. It's not a parking lot car or a garage car or any of that. It's meant to be driven. So I was out driving it, and I just remembered I was kind of out in the back roads, way out, and I was on my way back home, and I thought to myself, you know what, let's do another 4-3. So downshifted from 4th into 3rd, laid into it, and on the 3-4 shift, I heard a nice ting, just a loud metallic sound. It sounded like either a bolt had dropped out of my car and was bouncing, or something had broken, whatever the case. But I didn't think anything of it. Ripped it 4th all the way out to limiter, shifted into 5th, and that's when I noticed 5th kind of didn't so much grind, but it was a little bit, it wasn't smooth, and right away I knew something was wrong. Basically, came up to a set of stoplights, went to push my foot on the clutch, pedal kind of went halfway, and then it started to get kind of firm, and I was able to get into 1st. Light turned green, I went to go, and that was it. Going into 2nd, it wouldn't happen. I had to actually do the whole like clutchless shift thing where you kind of just get the RPM in the sweet spot, get all the input shafts and the synchros and the gears and everything kind of spinning at the correct speed, and then you can catch the next gear. And it's rough, even if you do it like perfectly. It's rough on the transmission. Modern day transmissions, they're synchronized, they have synchros, they need the clutch to shift properly without destroying the transmission. So at this point, I've got the car on the side of the road. I've got the CAA tow truck coming to pick me up. Didn't take him long. Flatbed took 10 minutes, 15 minutes. I don't know. It was very quick, so that was fantastic. He dropped it off pretty much right in my garage, which was awesome. Once it got there, kind of the troubleshooting diagnosis began. I had thought that it was the slave cylinder. I had the slave go out before. I knew the kind of the pedal feeling when the slave fails. I knew kind of what would happen. You can't change gears with the car running because the clutch is engaged, right? The clutch isn't disengaging. With the car off, goes through the gears, no problem, right? But with the car on, as soon as I would try to engage first, the whole car would start pushing forward. That's called clutch drag. Basically, the clutch isn't releasing, or it's not releasing all the way. I bled the clutch. I bled the clutch for hours, for days, 2 days. I tried bleeding it. I used a power bleeder, which is a beautiful thing. We'll go into that later, but I used the power bleeder. I tried bleeding it the old-fashioned way by foot. I tried gravity bleeding it, and it just didn't make sense. No matter what I did, I could not get the car to change gears with the engine running. It just, like, the clutch would not disengage. So at this point, I had thought, you know what, maybe the master is gone, and I started getting kind of frustrated because the master cylinder is annoying to change in this thing. I'm a larger guy, so slinking up under the dash sucks. I would have done it if I had to, but I didn't really want to. So that's when I called up my buddies at Adrena Garage. So they took it over, and what they found was quite interesting. So I've got a picture I'll insert. But basically, my ACT pressure plate broke. Kind of not your average failure. That's not something that's common or really seen. I had the extreme pressure plate, not the heavy duty, the one just kind of one step down, I guess. ACT 6-puck, basically the standard for Mazdaspeed. It's either OEM or 6-puck. Kind of, those are the go-tos. But it's a ton of track days. Probably in my ownership, maybe 20 track days, 22, 21, around there. It saw maybe about 65,000 street kilometers, street and track mixed. That's just overall. So I'll convert that to miles for you guys. But pretty much every single mile was either heavy, hard downshifts, hard upshifts. I learned to heel toe on that clutch, so I thought that would have destroyed it. Nope, things still looked great. It looks like one of the internal springs just cracked. I guess it was just fatigued. It was tired, old age, a ton of heat. I'm sure it saw some stop and go in its life, tons of track duty. So, I mean, it's a mechanical part. It can fatigue. It can happen. The frustrating part is that I had the old part number pressure plate clutch kit. ACT in 2018, I believe they changed. They redesigned, so they did new pressure plates, new flywheels. All the discs are the same, which is really frustrating. But basically, I need a new flywheel because the new pressure plate doesn't work with the old flywheel. So basically, I'm going to end up buying an entire clutch kit again. It's about 900 Americanos for the ACT 6-puck kit. So that's not even available yet. They're actually back ordered. When I spoke to ACT, they said end of May is kind of their like build date. So I'm guessing June is when they'll have stock again. And even then, trying to get it now, it wouldn't show until July. I didn't want to have that type of downtime with the car. I got lucky. I had an OEM Fidenza Luke setup that came on a motor I had bought, a scrapyard motor, and it looked to be in amazing shape. So obviously I grabbed that right away because it didn't cost me anything. Brought it down to the boys at the shop, in it went, and that's what's in the car right now. It feels amazing. Super soft, super squishy. It almost felt like something's wrong because the clutch is so light, the pedal's so soft. It's amazing to drive on the street, but I really do miss the ACT. I miss the 6-puck. There's a little bit of noticeable, I don't want to say rev hang because this car doesn't have rev hang, but the RPM, it drops slower than it would with like the ProLite flat wheel that I had, where RPMs flew up very quickly and they dropped very quickly. Everything happened very quickly with that setup. That's why it was amazing on the track. So yeah, I mean, that's it. It's gonna last me the rest of the season, this clutch, in the winter when the car goes into like service mode. There's a few things I'm gonna do, but a clutch is now on the list. Great. I was hoping I didn't have to do that, but it's what it is.